Jack stood still, his back straight, boots planted firmly on the cold metal floor of the space station. His eyes scanned the wide glass hall filled with aliens and humans, all dressed in their best uniforms. The peace talks were about to begin, but the air felt like a storm waiting to explode. He wasn't here to speak. He was just a Marine. His job was simple: protect Diplomat Alira with his life. Alira walked beside him, calm and silent. She had a cold beauty, sharp eyes, short dark hair, and a voice that cut through lies like a blade. Jack had guarded diplomats before, but Alira was different. She wasn't scared of the enemy, not even here, deep in neutral space where they were surrounded by the Zorth coalition. The Zorth were tall and strange, with thick gray skin and glowing blue eyes. Some of them had sharp horns. Some had metal parts grafted to their bodies. They spoke through small translator devices, but even their silence felt like a threat. Jack leaned closer to Alira and whispered, "They're watching you." "I know." She replied without looking at him, "Let them." The main hall buzzed with quiet voices. Cameras floated in the air. Guards stood at every corner. Behind the long silver table, the Zorth generals waited. In the center sat the most dangerous of them all, General Varon. Varon was a legend in the enemy ranks. He had crushed entire planets, wiped out rebel moons, and once sent a virus through a colony's air supply. Jack didn't trust him. No human did. Alira moved forward and gave a small nod. "General Varon." Varon stood up slowly. "Diplomat Alira of Earth, let us talk peace." The translator crackled, but the words were smooth. Too smooth. Jack didn't like it. Something was wrong. His hand rested near his weapon, hidden inside his black suit. Alira sat. Jack stood behind her, eyes sharp, scanning everyone. The other humans, ambassadors, guards, and scientists took their places. The Zorth watched with unreadable eyes. The peace meeting began, but Jack couldn't focus on the words. He saw a Zorth soldier move strangely near the back wall. Another touched his ear like he was listening to something. Then Jack's earpiece buzzed. A whisper. A voice, in Zorth language. Jack froze. He didn't understand it, but it didn't come from the human channel. It was bleeding in from somewhere else, some secret frequency nearby. He looked at Alira, but she gave no sign of hearing it. He stepped back, pretending to adjust his earpiece. The voice came again, louder this time. A strange phrase, repeated 3 times. Then silence. Jack tapped into the Marine channel. "Did anyone hear that?" "Negative," replied a voice. He frowned. Only he had caught it. A private message? An accident? Or a trap? As the talks continued, Jack moved closer to the edge of the room, eyes still on Alira. He watched the Zorth soldier again, the one near the back. The alien's hand tapped a small square on his belt, very carefully. Not once, but twice, then again. A code? Jack's training kicked in. He walked slowly toward the side wall, pretending to scan the area. As he passed a support column, he noticed a faint glow, almost invisible. He leaned in, squinting. A tiny black box was attached to the column. It pulsed faintly. Not a bomb. At least not a normal one. It was alien tech, hidden right in the room where the peace talks were happening. He tapped his again. Object found. Possible bug. Sending image. The commander's voice came sharp and fast. "Stay quiet. Do not engage. Continue protection. Confirm?" Jack replied, "Confirmed." He looked back at Alira. She was speaking calmly, asking Varon about troop withdrawals on the Mars border. The general gave a long answer about regional control and shared power. Lies, probably. Then something strange happened. Varon looked straight at Jack. Not at Alira, not at the ambassadors. At him, the bodyguard. Their eyes locked for just a second. But in that second, Jack saw something he didn't expect. Regret. The Zorth general blinked and looked away, but Jack's heart was pounding. What was that look? Why did it feel like a warning? Jack returned to his spot behind Alira. After the talks ended for the day, the humans returned to their guest wing. Alira walked beside Jack in silence. Once inside her private room, she turned and closed the door. "You heard it too," she said. Jack froze. "What?" "The message, in your comm." His jaw tightened. "You're not supposed to have access to my comm line." "I don't," she replied. "But I was trained to detect signal shifts. That wasn't a normal message. It was meant for someone nearby." Jack narrowed his eyes. "So you expected this?" Alira nodded slowly. "This isn't just a peace meeting, Jack. It's a trap. But not for us, for one of them." Jack took a step back. "You want one of them to betray their own side?" Alira's voice was low. "Not want, expect." He stared at her. "Who?" She walked to her bag, pulled out a small silver chip, and slid it into a hidden reader. A hologram lit up. A face appeared. "var single quotes uun.lira." Spoke coldly. "He sent us a message last month. Said he's done with war. Said he wants to surrender everything, alone." Jack couldn't believe it. "And you didn't tell command?" "I did. They told me to go ahead. If he's lying, we expose him. If he's serious, we get a gold mine of intel." Jack felt sick. "And I'm your shield in case it all goes bad." "Yes," she said. "You're the only one I trust." Jack paced the room. "I found a listening device in the wall. Alien tech. Someone's watching this whole thing. That's why we need to move fast," Alira said. "He might make contact soon." Jack looked out the window at the stars beyond. Peace was a nice word, but behind it were shadows, lies, and blood. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. A soft hum came from the wall. Then a quiet, broken voice echoed through the speaker. "Alira, alone, Hall 7, now." Alira and Jack both turned to the speaker. Jack grabbed his weapon. "You're not going alone." She didn't argue. Together they moved through the dim hallways of the station. Cameras watched them, but the security feeds were probably already hacked. Hall 7 was empty, silent, with low red lights. Then he stepped out of the shadows. "var single quotes uun. No guards. No armor. Just a dark cloak over his uniform. You came," he said in perfect English. Jack raised his weapon. Varan looked at Jack, then back at Alira. "I have no time. They suspect me. You were right. The device you found, it was planted by my own kind." Alira stepped forward. "Then why send the message now?" Varan took out a small cube. "This holds all Zorth military data codes, fleet locations, bioweapon plans. I give it to Earth. I betray my species." Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Why? Why help us?" Varan's eyes glowed, but his voice was sad. "Because I saw what we became. We were soldiers. Now we are monsters. Earth is our enemy, but also our last hope." Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Jack turned. "We have to go." Alira grabbed the cube. "We'll hide you. Get you off the station." Varan shook his head. "No, if I run, they'll know I gave it to you, but if I stay, they won't act yet." "You'll die," Jack growled. "Maybe," Varan said. "But the truth will live." Alarms started to ring. They ran. Jack had been trained to handle pressure. He could fight in zero gravity, shoot straight while falling from orbit, and think clearly in a war zone. But nothing had prepared him for this. General Varun, one of the most feared enemies in the galaxy, had just handed over a cube filled with Zorth military secrets. And then he walked back into the dark hallway like nothing had happened. Alira held the cube tightly in her palm. Her eyes locked on the hallway where Varan had disappeared. "We need to move," she said quickly. Jack nodded. "This place has too many eyes. Let's not give them a reason to start shooting." They walked fast. avoiding cameras and main halls. The space station was quiet, too quiet. The talks were still scheduled for the next day, but now everything had changed. As they entered the private wing, Illyra spoke again. If what Varan said is true, then Earth is in danger. That cube holds their war plans, Jack. This is bigger than peace. It's survival. Jack looked at her sharply. So what's the real plan now? We hide this? Run home? She shook her head. No, we make sure it gets out, but carefully. If they find out what we're carrying, we're both dead. Jack glanced over his shoulder. We should call command. No, not yet, Illyra said. Firmly, I don't know who we can trust. This cube. It's valuable. Too valuable. People kill for things like this. Jack stared at her for a moment, then slowly nodded. He knew she was right. Something felt wrong. The deeper they went, the more he felt the walls were watching him. Back in Illyra's private room, she placed the cube in a shielded box, one designed to block all signals. Jack sat down across from her, keeping his hand on his weapon. What if he's playing us? Jack asked. What if the cube is a trap? Illyra replied, I've studied Varan for years. He's a killer, but he's also proud. If he says he's done with war, he means it. Zorth leaders must be turning on each other. He picked us to win. Jack still didn't like it. He didn't trust aliens, especially ones who knew how to lie in perfect English. Suddenly, the room lights flickered again, not like before. This time, it felt different, like someone was testing the power. Jack stood up fast, eyes on the door. Illyra, we're not alone. The hallway outside was empty when they stepped out. But as they moved forward, Jack saw something that made his skin crawl. A security camera had been smashed, not disabled, smashed. Illyra, go back inside, Jack said. But she didn't move. She was staring at the wall next to the camera. Something was drawn there, carved into the metal with sharp lines. It was a symbol. 3 jagged lines in a circle. Jack didn't recognize it, but Illyra did. Zorth Rebel Mark, she whispered. One of their secret groups. I thought they were just a rumor. Jack shook his head. Rumors don't break cameras. He stepped forward, scanning with his wrist device. No heat signs. No movement. Whoever did this, they're gone now. They returned to the room. Jack locked the door with a manual override. That night, Jack didn't sleep. He sat in a chair near the door, weapon in hand. Illyra was at her desk, running silent tests on the cube. No one spoke for hours. At 3:12 station time, Jack heard something. Footsteps. Soft. Too soft for heavy boots. He stood, motioned to Illyra. She turned off the lights. Jack opened the side panel on the wall and pulled out a hidden camera feed. Someone was in the hallway, not human. Zorth, but it wasn't Varan. This one was younger, smaller. It wore no uniform, just dark cloth, and moved fast. It passed their door, then stopped. It turned, stared straight at the camera. Jack and Illyra both froze. Then the alien raised its hand and tapped its chest. The same symbol, 3 jagged lines in a circle, was burned into its skin. It smiled, then walked away. Jack stared at the feed. They know. Illyra looked grim. That wasn't a soldier. That was a shadow agent. A rebel spy. We need help, Jack said. No, Illyra replied. Help will get us killed. We need evidence. Just then, her communicator buzzed. Message, no ID. Just a time and a place. Level 9, Maintenance Bay 4. 1 hour. Come alone. Jack looked at the message. It's a trap. Probably, Illyra said. But what if it's not? What if Varan's not the only one switching sides? Jack frowned. You're not going alone. She gave him a look. Of course not. An hour later, they moved carefully through the lower levels of the station. The maintenance bays were cold, full of broken droids and cleaning bots. Bay 4 was dark, Except for one light flickering above an old supply crate. A figure stood there. Another. Zorth. But this one was very different. It was wearing a black robe and had no translator device. Instead, it spoke directly through a small implant. "You have the cube," the Zorth said. "Good, now listen." Jack raised his weapon. "Who are you?" "I am no one," the alien said. "But I fight for truth. Just like your diplomat." Illyra stepped forward. "What do you want?" "To survive," it said. "You think Varan changed sides on his own?" "No, he leads a rebellion inside the Zorth army, but he's not the only one." Jack narrowed his eyes. "So you're part of it?" "Yes, but not all of us agree on how to end the war. Some want peace, others want Earth burned." Illyra asked, "Why tell us?" "Because the cube you hold is a fake." Both Jack and Illyra froze. "What?" She whispered, "It looks real, but it was built by the old guard. If you use it, your systems will crash. Your ships will be blind. Earth will fall." Jack stepped forward. "Then why did Varan give it to us?" "Because he knew it was a trap," the Zorth said. "And he also knew someone like me would come to warn you." Illyra's voice was sharp. "Do you have the real cube?" The alien nodded. "But I won't give it to you yet. First, you must survive the night." Jack didn't like that. "What happens tonight?" "They're coming for you. The fake cube is marked, a signal beacon. They will track it. Kill everyone in this wing. Then say it was an accident." Illyra gritted her teeth. "So we're bait?" "Yes," the Zorth said. "But now you know." It stepped back into the shadows. "Tomorrow," it said, "come here again, with proof that you are ready." Then it was gone. Jack stared at Illyra. "I hate aliens." She didn't answer. They returned to the room. Jack opened the shielded box and looked at the cube again. It blinked softly. Innocent. Silent. But inside, a signal was calling killers to their door. Jack placed a metal casing around it to block the beacon. Then he sat down again, eyes wide, weapon ready. Illyra spoke softly. "You should leave. This isn't your fight anymore." Jack laughed bitterly. "Too late for that. I'm in." The hours passed. At 5 o'clock. They heard footsteps again. Not soft this time. Boots. A full Zorth squad. Marching. Then they stopped right outside the door. Jack raised his weapon. Illyra stood beside him. The lights went out. Total darkness. Up. Loud knock. Jack aimed at the door. The second knock. Then nothing. No third knock. No voice. Just silence. He whispered. "They're waiting." Illyra whispered back. "So are we." Minutes passed. Then suddenly an explosion. Not at their door. Down the hallway, a fire alarm blared. Screams. Running. Jack looked at the camera. A blast had torn through Hall 6. Flames. Smoke. Bodies. "Wasn't us," Jack said. The Zorth outside turned and ran toward the fire. Jack opened the door and dragged Illyra behind him. They moved fast through smoke, alarms, and chaos. But as they passed a hallway mirror, Jack saw something. A flash of black. A figure watching them. The same. Zorth rebel. He gave a short nod. Then vanished again. They reached the cargo area and disappeared into a sealed chamber. Safe. For now. Illyra breathed hard. The cube is fake. The war is still on. And someone is playing both sides. Jack leaned against the wall. But someone else wants to stop it. Illyra looked at the stars outside. "The window. We just stepped into the shadows, Jack." He nodded. "And now we find the light." Jack hated silence. Not the kind you get in deep space, but the kind that crawls under your skin and whispers. Something is watching you. Since they got back from the lower maintenance bay, something had changed. The station didn't feel neutral anymore. It felt like a trap. Illyra sat at her desk, reviewing the data from the fake cube. Her face was calm, but her fingers moved fast across the screen. Jack watched the hallway from the door, weapon close, body tense. "They're moving faster," he said softly. Alira didn't look up. "Who? The ones who want us dead." She stopped typing. "Then it's time we start thinking ahead." A sharp knock came from the door. Jack spun around, gun raised. "Marine," a familiar voice said. "Open the door." It was Commander. Hail Earth's top military attaché on the station. Jack unlocked the door, but kept his hand near his weapon. "Commander." Hollis stepped in with 2 security officers. His eyes scanned the room quickly. "Why are you 2 locked up in here like?" "It's a war zone?" Alira smiled. "Because war's already started." "You just don't see it yet," Halle frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" Jack spoke up. "Someone tried to kill us last night." "Any proof?" Halle asked. "Only this," Alira said, sliding the fake cube across the table. Halle picked it up. "And this is?" "Something General Varan gave us," she said. "A trap." Halle raised an eyebrow. "You're saying an enemy commander just handed you a fake intelligence device?" "Yes," she said. "Because he wanted us to discover it was fake. He wants us to know who the real enemy is." Halle stared at her for a moment, then looked at Jack. "Do you believe this?" Jack nodded slowly. "I saw Varun's eyes. He wasn't lying. He's not playing games." "Fine," Halle said. "I'll take the cube to our intel team." "No," Alira said sharply. "That's what they want. The cube has a beacon inside. If you activate it in a lab, the enemy will know exactly where we are. Then they'll send someone to clean up the mess." Halle looked annoyed, but didn't argue. "So what now?" Jack glanced at Alira. "We follow the next signal," she said later that night. Jack walked alone through the dimly lit corridors of the space station. The Diplomat told him to stay hidden, but Jack had a feeling something important was about to happen, and he couldn't sit and wait. As he passed the observation deck, he saw a shadow standing by the glass wall. It was VR:UN. Jack pulled out his weapon and stepped forward. "You've got some nerve showing up here." Varan turned slowly. His face showed no fear. "I had to make sure you received my message." Jack didn't lower his weapon. "We got your cube. It's a fake. You set us up." "No," Varan said. "I warned you. But there are others in the Zorth ranks who still want Earth destroyed. They sent that cube. I used it to point you in the right direction." Jack narrowed his eyes. "Why? Why help us?" Varan turned back toward the stars. "Because I lived long enough to see my people lose their soul. We were soldiers once. Now we are butchers." Jack paused. "Then give us something real." Varan pulled something from his coat. A black device, small, flat, with glowing red lines. "This is the true key," he said. "It holds our real war plans. Not just against Earth, but against every free world." Jack reached for it, slowly. But before he could grab it, the lights flickered. Alarms buzzed, and a voice echoed through the station. "Lockdown in effect. Unknown life form detected." Varan looked at Jack with urgency. "They found me. Take it. Run." Jack grabbed the device, then turned and ran down the hallway. Behind him, he heard footsteps, heavy, fast, not human. From the shadows, something leapt. Jack ducked and rolled. A Zorth assassin crashed into the wall. Snarling. It had glowing red eyes, armor blades on its arms, and no translator. This one wasn't here to talk, only to kill. Jack fired 3 shots. The first missed. The second hit its shoulder. The third went straight through the eye. The body fell, smoke rising from its head. Jack didn't stop running. Back in Alira's room, he locked the door and handed her the real device. "Varan's dead," he said, breathing hard. "But he gave us this." Alira connected it to a secure reader. Within seconds, hundreds of documents appeared. Maps, weapon blueprints, biological weapons targeted at Earth's oxygen systems. She gasped. "They planned everything, even our cities. They knew where to strike first." Jack sat down, wiping sweat from his forehead. This is what war looks like in silence. Alira nodded. Now we have to scream. They didn't trust command anymore, not after what they'd seen. The Zorth had friends in high places. Some human leaders wanted this war. So Jack and Alira made a decision. They would broadcast the truth to everyone. Not just to Earth. But to every species watching. Using the station's emergency beacon, they hacked into the main signal array. It took 5 minutes to bypass the system. Jack pulled the mic closer. "This is Sergeant Jack Cross," he said. "Marine of Earth. I have something you all need to see." He uploaded the files. All of them. The screen flashed across the galaxy. In minutes, diplomats, soldiers, scientists, and even civilians across dozens of systems saw the truth. The real Zorth invasion plans, the maps, the betrayal, the hidden attacks. The fact that one of their own, General Varan, died. Trying to stop it. The galaxy went silent. Then the messages began pouring in. One by one, other alien races sent support. Many had feared Earth, but now they saw humans weren't the monsters. The monsters were wearing masks on both sides. Hours later, Jack stood alone by the window, looking at the stars. Alira walked up behind him. "You did it." "We did it," he replied. "You're just a Marine," she said softly. "You weren't supposed to be a hero." He smiled. "I didn't protect just a diplomat. I protected the truth." She nodded. "And the enemy?" "They showed us something no one expected." Jack turned to face her. "That sometimes your greatest enemy becomes your only friend." Behind them, the stars kept burning. But now, the galaxy was watching, and it would never forget. The entire space station shook with a sudden blast. Jack was standing near the command center when the alarm screamed through every corridor. "Explosion!" someone yelled. "Hallway 6 containment breach." Jack grabbed his weapon and sprinted toward the sound. Alira was already beside him, her face pale but steady. "Jack, that's close to the peace talks," she said, voice low. "If it's a bomb, we're finished." Jack shook his head. "We don't know that yet. Stay sharp." They moved fast through smoke and flashing red lights. The fire alarms flooded the air with a deafening roar. The metallic walls were scorched, but there was no heavy damage. No flames. Jack frowned. "This doesn't look like a normal explosion." Alira pointed at a small device pulsing on the floor. "It's a data cube," she said, kneeling down. "The same kind Varan gave us." Jack bent close. "So what? Caused the alarm?" Alira tapped the cube's surface. It triggered a silent security protocol. They thought it was a bomb. A voice crackled through the station speakers. "All personnel remain calm. No actual explosives detected. Threat level reduced." Jack exhaled slowly. "That was too close." Alira glanced up, eyes sharp. "Wait, this cube isn't just data. Look here." She held up a small scanner, and an encrypted message appeared. "To those who find this, the truth is hidden beneath the code. Trust no one." Jack's eyes narrowed. "Trust no one? That includes us?" "Maybe," Alira whispered. "Or maybe it means the real enemy is closer than we think." Suddenly, footsteps echoed behind them. Jack spun, weapon raised. 2 humans appeared, faces tense. Commander Hale and a technician. "What's going on here?" Hale demanded. All IRA showed him the cube. "False alarm." "But there's a message." Hale scowled. "A warning?" "More like a puzzle," Alira replied. The technician stepped forward. "I ran diagnostics. The cube's data is real. But it's only a fraction. There's more hidden deep inside the station's archives." Jack exchanged a glance with Alira. "So the real secrets are still buried?" Hala nodded grimly. "Looks like it." Suddenly, the lights flickered and the station's AI voice announced, "Security lockdown in effect. Unauthorized data breach detected." Jack cursed. "They know we're digging." Alira grabbed his arm. We have to move, now. They raced through corridors toward the archives. The station's emergency lights barely lit their path. At the archive entrance, the door was sealed tight. Jack swiped his access card. "Give me a minute." The lock clicked open. Inside, rows of data terminals blinked silently. Li array connected the cube to one terminal. "Let's see what secrets you're hiding," she muttered. The screen filled with streams of encrypted files. Illyra worked fast, decoding the layers. Jack's cum crackled. "Warning! Hostile forces approaching." "Get ready," Jack said. Just then, the lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed them. A whisper echoed in the dark. "Illyra." "Jack." They froze. A shadow moved near the terminal. "Who's there?" Jack demanded. A figure stepped forward. It was VAR single quotes UUN. Jack blinked. "But you're dead." Varan smiled sadly. "Only in their eyes. I have my reasons to stay hidden." Illyra gasped. "You tricked us." "No," he said softly. "I saved you." Jack lowered his weapon a little. "Why? What is this place?" Varan gestured to the terminals. "This archive holds everything. The true plans, betrayals, even spies within your own people." Illyra's eyes widened. "Spies? On Earth?" "Among us all," Varan said. "The war is not what you think. The battle is in shadows and whispers." Suddenly, the station shuddered violently. Jack grabbed Illyra's arm. "We don't have much time." Varan handed them a small chip. "Take this. It unlocks the hidden files. But beware, once revealed, the enemy will come for you." Illyra took the chip. "We have to warn Earth." Varan nodded. "And prepare. The explosion was only a warning. The real attack is coming." As alarms blared again, the three ran toward the exit. Jack glanced back once. "Why trust us?" Varan's voice was calm. "Because sometimes your greatest enemy is the one who changes sides." The room was tense. Jack stood by the window, looking out into the stars. Across from him, Illyra faced Varan, the alien general who had shocked everyone by changing sides. Varan's eyes were calm but full of pain. "I have given you everything I can. Now it is your choice." Illyra's voice was firm. "If we accept your surrender, what guarantees do we have that you won't betray us again?" Varan sighed. "You don't. But I swear, this war has torn my people apart. I want peace." Jack tightened his grip on his weapon. "Peace is expensive. How can we trust someone who has destroyed entire worlds?" Varan looked directly at Jack. "Because I am tired of bloodshed. Because I once saved a human child. During the last war, I have seen the cost of hatred." Illyra stepped forward. "You claim to lead a rebellion inside the Zorth army. Why reveal yourself now?" Varan's voice dropped. "Because the old guard plans a final strike. They want to wipe out Earth. If I don't stop them, there will be no peace." Jack exchanged a glance with Illyra. "And what about your own people? Will they let you live?" Varan's face darkened. "They will hunt me like a traitor. But I am ready." Suddenly an alarm sounded. Jack's cum buzzed. "Marines approaching your location. Command orders your immediate arrest of the alien." Illyra turned sharply. "What? Why?" Jack growled. "They don't trust him. They want him dead." Varan's eyes flickered. "I warned you. The real war is not just between our species. It is inside your own ranks." Illyra faced Jack. "What do we do?" Jack clenched his jaw. "We can't let them take him. If they kill Varan, the war will end worse than we fear." Footsteps thundered outside. Jack raised his weapon. "Ready yourself." The door burst open. Armed Marines stormed in. "Hands where we can see them." The leader shouted. Jack stepped forward. "Stop! This alien is under my protection." The Marine leader sneered. "You're out of orders, Cross." Illyra's voice cut through the tension. "We need Varan alive. He holds the key to stopping the war." A Marine aimed his gun at Varan. Jack moved faster. He tackled the Marine, knocking the weapon aside. Chaos erupted. Varan slipped behind a console, pulling a small device from his belt. "Do not force my hand," he warned. The Marines froze, tension thick in the air. Illyra shouted, "Everyone calm down. We need a plan." Jack stood, weapon trained but cautious. "We stay together, or we all die." Suddenly, the room's lights flickered and went out. Emergency red lights bathed the room in a harsh glow. Varan took the chance. He moved toward the window. "I will not be captured," he said. Jack blocked his path. "Not without a fight." Varan nodded, "Then let it begin." Before anyone could react, the window shattered. Varan dove into the void. Jack lunged after him, catching his arm. "Let me go." Varan hissed. Jack held tight. "You'll die out there." Varan's grip was iron. Better to die free than locked away. Jack pulled him back inside, slamming the window shut. The Marines circled them, guns ready. Illyra's voice was steady. "We make a deal. Varan lives, and we work together. Or none of us survive." The Marines hesitated. Their leader growled, "Orders are orders." Jack stared hard. "Who gave those orders? And why?" No answer. The tension broke when the station's AI announced, "Warning, unauthorized broadcast detected. Security breach imminent." Illyra's eyes widened. "They've hacked the station. We don't have much time." Jack looked at Varan. "You sure about this?" Varan smiled faintly. "It's the only chance we have." Together, they moved quickly, forming a fragile alliance on a fragile station. Outside, the stars waited silently. Inside, the lines were crossed, and the war's true face revealed itself. Jack's boots pounded against the metal floor as alarms blared through the station. Red lights flashed wildly, casting long shadows down the narrow corridor. Smoke curled from vents overhead, filling the air with a bitter taste. "Illyra, we have to move faster," Jack shouted, pulling her along. She stumbled but kept pace. Behind them, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed. The enemy was close. Illyra gasped. "The station is collapsing. The sabotage was worse than we thought." Jack glanced back, seeing sparks fly from the walls. "We're running through fire now." They rounded a corner and found a group of Marines blocking their path, weapons aimed. "Hold," one barked. "You're not cleared to pass." Jack stepped forward, raising his hands. "We're not the enemy. Varan is with us." The Marines hesitated. One lowered his rifle slightly. "Where is he?" Before Jack could answer, a deafening explosion shook the station, sending debris flying. The Marines ducked instinctively. Illyra grabbed Jack's arm. "We can't wait. We have to go now." Jack nodded. "Varan said the evacuation pods are our only chance." They sprinted down the hall, dodging falling cables and shards of metal. The air grew hotter. Jack coughed. "Smoke's thickening." Illyra gasped. "We're almost there." They burst into the evacuation bay. The pods were lined up, some damaged, some flashing red. Varan stood by the controls, eyes sharp. "You're late," he said, voice steady. Jack handed him a data chip. "This has the final intel. We need to get out of here." Varan nodded, then suddenly grimaced. "The enemy sealed the main exit. We have to use the emergency escape." Illyra frowned. "That's a one-way trip." Varan smiled faintly. "Sometimes you run through fire to find the light." Jack looked at the pod. "Let's do it." They jumped inside. The hatch hissed shut. Jack gripped the console. "Launch." In 3, 2, 1. The pod shot out, tearing away from the station. Outside, the station exploded behind them, a bright, terrible fireball against the black stars. Illyra's voice trembled. "Did we make it?" Varan looked ahead. "The war isn't over, but we survived the first battle." Jack stared at the stars. We ran through fire, but we're still standing, Alira smiled faintly. And we'll fight until the last star burns out. The pod sailed silently into space, carrying the last hope of peace. Jack's heart pounded loudly in the small interrogation room. The walls were cold metal, and the only light came from a harsh overhead lamp. Across from him stood Commander Halle, his face shadowed but eyes sharp. "Where is the data chip?" Halle demanded, voice low but deadly serious. Jack clenched his fists. "I don't know what you're talking about," Halle smiled coldly. "Don't play games, Marine. We have proof you took it from Varan's escape pod." Alira sat quietly in the corner, watching. Her eyes flicked between Jack and Halle. She knew the truth was heavier than any weapon. Halle stepped closer. "You're hiding something. You're protecting him." Jack shook his head. "I protect Earth. And right now, the truth is our only weapon." Halle sneered. "The truth? Your truth is a lie. Varan is a traitor, and you're helping him betray us all." Jack stood up. "Varan showed us the real war. It's not just between humans and Zorth. It's inside our own ranks. You don't want peace." Alira added, "The people who ordered the attack on the station are still in power. They want war to continue." Hale's hand moved to his gun. "Enough. Tell me where the chip is, or I'll make you." Jack held his ground. "You can't force me to betray the future." Suddenly, the door slammed open. A group of Marines entered, weapons raised. "We have incoming transmission," one said. "From Earth Command." Halle snapped to attention. "Put it through." The screen flickered on. A stern face appeared. It was Earth's highest commander. "Commander Halle." The voice said, "Your actions are under review. Cease interrogation." Immediately, Hale's eyes widened. "But sir, orders are clear. The war is too dangerous to fight in shadows. We need truth. All of it." The screen went dark. Jack breathed out slowly. Finally. Alira stood. "We need to get the chip to Earth before more lies spread." Halle looked at them both. "You're walking a fine line." Jack smiled grimly. "Sometimes the truth is best held at gunpoint." The ship's engines hummed softly as Jack stood on the bridge, watching the stars blur past. The data chip was safe hidden deep inside the ship's secure vault. Earth was waiting for the truth it held. But Jack knew this was not the end. "Alira," he said quietly, "this peace we fought for, it's fragile. One wrong move and everything falls apart." Alira joined him, eyes steady. "We made it this far because we trusted in something bigger than war." "The truth," Jack nodded, "but some still want to bury it. They want to keep fighting in shadows." A sudden alert flashed on the console. "Incoming ship, unknown ID." Jack's hand tightened on the railing. "Enemies?" Alira checked the scanner. "Not sure. No weapons detected. But it's heading this way fast." The communications officer spoke up. "They want to hail us." Jack took a breath and opened the channel. A voice came through, calm but firm. "This is Admiral Arachin. Earth Fleet, we've tracked your ship. Stand down and prepare to dock." Jack exchanged a glance with Alira. "Do we trust them?" Alira smiled faintly. "We have no choice." The ship docked, and soldiers boarded swiftly. Admiral Arachin stepped forward. "Jack Cross, you've done well, but the war is not over. Powerful forces want to keep it alive." Jack's jaw tightened. "Then what now?" Arachin looked him in the eye. "You are our last line. Protect the truth. Protect peace." Suddenly, the lights flickered. An explosion rocked the ship. "Sabotage!" someone shouted. Jack grabbed his weapon. "Alira, get to the vault." They ran through smoke and debris. The enemy was inside. Jack fought off attackers, his every move sharp and sure. Alira secured the chip in a hidden compartment. Jack called out, "I'll hold them off. Get ready to jump." As alarms screamed, Jack faced the enemy leader, a dark figure cloaked in shadows. "You think your truth will save you?" the figure sneered. "War never ends." Jack aimed steady. "Maybe, but I'm the last line, though." "Cross." The shot rang out. Silence. Jack slumped against the wall, breathing heavy. Lir returned, eyes bright. "We made it. The truth lives." Jack smiled weakly. "And so does hope." The stars outside glittered, silent witnesses to a battle. One, but the war for peace had only just begun.